Good morning, good morning. It's Monday morning and it's Pause with Elizabeth Elenor. How is everyone and how was your weekend? I hope you are really enjoying, if you're in Australia, that you're really enjoying this shift in energy and this beautiful weather that we're starting to start feeling a little bit. We're still having a little bit of cold, but I can feel my body starting to move out of hibernation, and because I tend to be very connected to the seasons. What about you? Is your body connected to the seasons, and have you been feeling like you've been hibernating over winter? So I want to talk to you today in Pause about your name. And is your name limiting you in some way? So I want you to just stop and reflect on this. Just even asking the question, right? Is my name limiting me? Because I want to break this up a little bit. Where everything is energy, and energy vibrates at different frequencies. So we've got a signature, we've got a vibrational signature, and our name has a vibrational signature to it. I remember when my daughter was born, it was 2 weeks before we named her, and my partner and I were having challenges. Like I liked all these names and he didn't like them, and vice versa. And someone had come up with the name Harley Davidson. Someone had said Harley Davidson. I'm like, yeah, right, because I liked the name Harley. And anyway, 2 weeks had gone through and someone was saying, well, what about Carly? And she also had, she's got Uncle David on both sides, right? So I didn't like the name Carly, but after 2 weeks, it was really interesting because after 2 weeks, I was laying with her, feeding her, and I said to my partner, it's not my favorite choice, but she looks like Carly. Like, she just looks like a Carly. So my daughter's name is Carly Davida, because Davida is the female version of David, and she's got an Uncle David on both sides. And, my name is Elizabeth Elenor. Whatever your name is holds a vibration, right? It's a particular signature in the vibrational tone of the universe that creates us to be a singularity. We then are identified, labeled, and judged through this is who we are. This is our choice to be here on the planet as, and put your name in, right? And the same when people change their name, like you get married and so your vibrational tone changes with your last name, or you may decide to change your particular name, so that it's there's a different shift, and it holds a particular frequency to it. And so what I want to go back a little bit here, because we are what I call superconscious. We are the all, an aspect of the all, right? But we have the ability to experience everything vibrationally. So we can go in and set the intention to feel pain, and we feel pain. We can go in and set the intention to feel disgust, and we can feel disgust. We can go in and set the intention to feel love and whole and gratitude, and we can feel that, right? We can set an intention and have an imagery that will create a thought pattern which will move into the feeling of something, and we can experience that in our body. We are creators. We are the opportunity, the ability to experience whatever we choose to experience. And so we have that ability, that choice, that freedom to feel however we feel, right? And I get that when someone's feeling pain and you know, has had a particular experience that's traumatic in some way, you can feel like you're powerless to that experience, and you can feel like you've got no choice. And that's not true. You actually do have a choice. You can change your mind. You can choose to experience something different in any situation, right? Depending on your ability, your consciousness, your awareness, your understanding of your mental capacity, right? We have a choice to experience whatever we want to choose, right? And when we get caught up in our name, when we get caught up in our individuation, so we are, you know, this amazing, you know, women of light. We are of the light, and yet the light actually fractured to create darkness. The light became all of it so it could experience itself. The light chose, said yes and made a choice to have an experience rather than a knowing. And so in that process, we have become an individual looking out from our you-ness, from our oneness, our own perception, our own individual, you know, expansion and view and perception. And we can get caught up in this is the way it is. I feel this because I've had this experience. We can get caught up in my name is Elizabeth and I've had this trauma and this love and this happiness and this abundance and this pain and this whatever it might be. My experience, all of these limitations that I've experienced, I can get caught up in this is the way it is because this is the experience that I've had, and only identify with that. And through that process, that understanding of this is the way it is, we can get caught up in a cycle of patterns of only ever having that experience, only ever feeling pain when someone loves us, or only ever feeling like this is it, this is our individual body, and when we die we, you know, nothing else. Whatever the belief system is, right? I was talking to my son yesterday, and I was sharing with him an experience that I had as a little girl, and you know, in that experience, I could have gone now, which I did, right? For a long time, I went into, from this experience, I now can't trust men. I can't, you know, men are scary. You can't rely on them. You can't, you know, you can't trust them. You can't give them your heart. You can't be yourself. And so the little girl inside of me individuates as this is my experience and goes through the pattern of life of not trusting, not completely giving of herself, not listening to her intuition, not expressing her broader, higher perspective, her understanding of that limitation is just a perception, and not allowing the full gamut, the full expression of the all, the superconscious, of the expansion of who I am. I am more than just a body. I am more than just a name. I am more than just this limited being. And being able to access that gives you that opportunity to step out of those belief systems that have caused you to have these experiences, and broken you down into, this is the limitation that I am, and I am nothing else. So when you only experience yourself as your name, as the limitation, as the human being, you are then also only having you are then only actually being able to access the limitations that are in your subconscious, right? You're only able to access the part of you that's had a previous experience, right? So there's a history of whatever patterns, beliefs, patterns, habits, emotions, definitions, judgments, all of these things. When you only identify with your humanness, then you only have access to that library. You only have access to the previous things, like the data bank in a computer, right? Ask it something outside of its data bank, and it's got no function to access that. And so when we only experience ourselves as Elizabeth, put your name in there, right? When we only experience ourselves as this, then the library or the data bank of all our previous experiences is all we've got access to in our consciousness. And so we then start having new...
Hi, this is Elizabeth Elenor. This is my second take of pause this morning. I have some challenges with my NBN. Apparently there was an outage in my area, and it's caused some problems with my NBN, and they're coming to fix it today. And it seemed to be working over the weekend, so I nearly stopped them from coming, and I'm really glad I didn't, because here I am having struggles again now that I've got work to do. So anyway, ploughing through. Good morning, Kelly. So if you didn't watch the first one, hopefully there's it's basically on our Women of Light page. Hopefully it's still there. So anyway, this is me. I'm going back to what I was talking about. So where did I get to? So here I was talking about the bike experience, right? And so when you're riding a bike, you have a particular way that you know, because it's coded in, this is the way you ride a bike, right? So if someone comes to you, so watch the first one because I went into more detail. If someone comes to you and says there's a new way of riding a bike, or there's actually a different way of riding a bike, it can cause anxiety in your body, because your body is only aware of a certain way of being, right? Because it's been coded into your subconscious of, this is the way it is, right? This is the way you function in life. These are the definitions. These are the labels. These are the judgments that you've made. These are the emotions that I have when this particular thing comes up. Because even the emotion, the first time you experience something, as soon as you define it as a particular thing, the emotion that you're having at the time gets locked in as well. So when you have an experience, if you have the same, like for example, just say the first time you rode a horse or rode a bike, something traumatic happened, that gets locked in as well. So when you are given the, why don't you ride that bike? It automatically, because the subconscious is here to help you survive, right? You survived it before, even with the pain. The subconscious will bring that pain and fear back up, and you will go into, no, I can't ride a bike because, this happened to me and gouged my leg out or whatever it might be, right? And so it can actually cause you, emotional trauma within your body, because the trauma is actually locked in as well as the experience. So when you are an individual, when you are only experiencing yourself as your name, this is me, I'm limited, I'm experiencing life this particular way. When you only identify with that, you only have that data bank of subconscious thoughts, patterns, behaviors, all of those things to reference. And so therefore, that's a limitation. You are only referencing from your past experience and past traumas and past memories and past, not just traumas, but you might, that's how addictions happen as well, right? When you have a euphoric experience with something, you might enjoy, chocolate coated strawberries for the first time, and you have oh my gosh, this is amazing. And so that gets locked in as I love chocolate coated strawberries. And so every time you see chocolate coated strawberries, you then have that same association. Oh, I love that. I loved that experience, and so therefore I want more of them because I want the feeling. And it makes me think of the first time I didn't really know my grandparents when I was little, but I have an experience of my grandmother making me a banana sandwich. And it makes me think of the banana sandwich because it was like the right, it was just like the right ripeness of a banana. It was white bread, right? But it was fresh white bread, and she used real butter, and she put lots of real butter on, and this beautiful, just ripe. It was the best banana sandwich I ever had. and whenever I see a banana sandwich, I think of my grandmother and I think of the taste that banana sandwich had, right? Because it was just amazing. I was little. That was, the experience I had with my grandmother. And when I think of my grandmother, I think of banana sandwiches, right? Very interesting how our brain works. And yet, it's a limitation. Because when we can identify or understand ourselves as women of light or as super conscious, as the all of everything, that we have access to any information we choose or any consciousness that we choose, any belief system that we choose, any choices that we choose, any emotion that we choose, we're expanding ourselves out of that individual package that we have created, which was necessary for us to experience, right? We need to experience ourselves as an individual so that we can experience ourselves as more than the individual or not, right? Most people on the planet are just experiencing themselves as the individual, totally separate from everything else, totally separate from you, so totally separate from, the beliefs, the control, the dictatorship, the health system, the education system, when you really identify yourself as an individual, you can find yourself very powerless because you think that you're separate and have no control over your reality. So your name can limit you because you have identified with that instead of the expansion of who you truly are. We are here to experience ourselves. That's the paradox of the whole thing, right? The dichotomy of the whole thing is that we're here to experience ourselves as an individual, and yet we have the opportunity to expand out of that, bring the awareness of all into us and know ourselves as the light that's here experiencing, and we can choose a different experience. We can choose, I don't like that belief that I've got here anymore. It's not serving me anymore, or this emotion is not serving me anymore. So I'm going to choose something else. I'm going to choose the opposite of that. I'm feeling angry at the moment. What if I choose to experience love instead? And just the very thought of it will at least turn the volume down on the anger, right? The very thought of having a choice is where the power is. The very thought of I can make a decision here. This is my choice. I am the predominant creative force, as I say to my clients, right? I am the predominant creative force in my life. I get to choose what my experience is here. So I hope that supported you in some way. Sorry for all the disruptions. I hope that you got some value out of it. Please put some comments if you understand and if it feels like it resonates to you, and make a different choice if you don't like the choice that you've got. Take care.